The whole purpose was of the Anzio landing. Breakout there was to stop and take the reinforcements away from the Gustav Line for us to have a chance to break through. We got through the Lira Valley and went up, where the Canadians broke through and we went up. We were going up there, and then they come across. But of course, we were going up to about May the 24th, something like that, and it was 20th. And the General Mark Clark was ordered to cut off the retreating Germans, but he disobeyed the order with the American Fifth Army, and he went for Rome. He went to take Rome. He wanted the glory rather than doing the job. Now, if he'd cut the Germans off, he would have saved a lot of hard work, because Germans fell back to another prepared line above Rome called the Hitler Line. And anyway, he didn't do that. He went for glory and he took Rome. Now, Rome was open city. There was no fighting to take it. Right? It had been declared an open city by the British and the Germans. They didn't want to go bombing that. And so he took that. So then we carried on up the Route 6, going up through more or less central Italy. And then we come up in June. We were up in the middle of Italy, and we were up past the Sisi, and we come to a Lake Trasimeno. Now, our battalion were out resting, and on June the 19th, we were ordered in, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we were ordered in to go through the lines of the Argyll and Southerners, who was in our brigade. And we come to a T-junction. A T-junction is like that. And Germans opened fire on us. And my friend and I, we run up a drive of a house. And we were laying down flat because we were under fire. And the next thing was an explosion in front of my head. And I said to my friend, I said, let's get in that house by there. So we run in the house, and there was already some other boys of our battalion in there. And when I got in the house, my leg went under me. And I looked down, my leg was covered in blood. So, of course, I was evacuated out. Now, they sent a jeep down. It's the first time I'd seen one of these jeeps, and it had 2 stretchers on the back. So I was on the stretcher again, and I told you a bit earlier about the red flag. Of course, the jeep had the red flag flying above it, the Red Cross flag flying above it. And we were going up the road the way we'd come. And Jerry opened fire above us. And that's the first time I ever knew him to fire on the Red Cross flag. But anyway, I got back to battalion, and of course they evacuated me back then from one place, one hospital to another. And I landed up in a hospital in Rome. And I'd had infection in my leg by this time, the time they got me down there. And they decided then to send me down to a hospital in Naples to evac me back further, because it was going to be a longer job. So they sent me to this airfield then, and there was old Dakota. You know, these old DC-3s, as they call them Dakota, and they are workhorse of the army. They were American plane, and of course they carried us on with stretchers. Now when they'd put you on this, they'd have about 3 or 4 stretchers stacked up in the plane alongside each other, but they couldn't do that with me. I was on the bottom part, but my leg was up in a splint, so I was nobody above me. But anyway, the plane went down the runway, but the ground was too boggy, so he couldn't take off. So they brought me out of that, and they took me by ambulance down to Cassino, to Anzio. And there was an Osprey ship there, and it was St. Andrew, and it was a GWR boat, and it used to go from Fishguard across to Ireland. And I was on this Osprey ship. Now I was on a cot with my leg up in splints, and weighed up, weights on it. And it was like a cot, whichever way the ship went, the cot would go as well, you know, exactly like a baby's cot. And on the floor next to me was an Indian one of our Indian boys, and his hair was down to his waist, and he was shell-shocked. And on the other side of me was a German prisoner of war, and he had been very badly wounded in the shoulder. But anyway, as I say, we were sailing down, and every time the German got up to go to the toilet, the Indian would run around my cot and jump in his bed. And the German come back and he'd appeal to me, what did he do? And I'd say, call the orderly, and the orderly would come and he'd move it back. So in the end, this went on. In the middle of the night now, he said to me, what am I to do? I said, go in his bed. And as soon as I said that, the Indian jumped up and ran around and got in his own bed. But anyway, we got to Naples, and they sent me down to a military hospital in Amalfi. And what a beautiful place. Lovely, very nice place. And I was in Amalfi for months because, as I say, I had an infection in my leg. It was to talk about them either taking it off or sending me home. But I wouldn't let them take it off.